Hi folks, it's the Siggy. What I'm going to be talking about today is declaring, accepting and declining faction wars. It is quite an in-depth subject. I think there's a lot of facets to it. What I might do is I might split this. Let's see how we go. First and foremost, if we lose a faction, we can lose 200 glory points. If we decline a faction, we only lose 40. But I don't want to keep declining wars. When we win, it goes up to 200. We'll see what that means in a second. Following the recent update by Gameloft, we now get a notification in factions, a little one that comes up there, and there'll be a one on the war tab. We declared on a couple of really low factions during the global conquest, so I'm not stressing the guys too much. But let's have a quick look in there. As you can see, that's not a victory, just 18, but they'll count. Is we've got two faction wars that we're in at the moment. We declared on both of these, and we've got one more that we can declare. There's only a maximum of 3, and that's either declare or declared upon. When we choose factions, let me just go back to the point I was making earlier about up to. Let's have a quick look at our history. Here we go. We did lose to these Russians. 200 points for a loss. It's just like the taxman, this. When it's taken away from you, it's 200. When it's given back to you, it's a lot less than that. 89 for a win, 89 for a win, 112 for a win, 22 for a win. It isn't always 200, but far too many times for me. Sometimes you're better off saying, look, you're too good for us, guys. We'll accept the loss and take a minus 40. Anyway, let's get back onto our faction itself. To accept or decline a war, there's a couple of ways of actually doing it. Obviously, we're offered them in the war tab if somebody is declared on us. And what you can do is you can search for somebody online. It is case specific, so if there's capitals anywhere in their faction name, asterisks, other special characters, it needs to be typed totally as is. Let's have a quick look. I will go for the other faction that beat us. We had 21 battles and lost 2. Quite good, I think. The faction name is asterisk space. Talk amongst yourself while Siggy's doing this. And another asterisk. Oh, so Mirvan and another asterisk. We'll search those. Search. Here we go. Right, okay. Similar amount of players to us, 22. I'll come back to our faction in a second. Shall we battle them? Let's have a quick look. We're not going to at the moment because we're at peace. There's no danger of me accidentally clicking on it. But what do we need to consider? It's not just their total glory. They've got 12,116. Let's click back. Click on our faction. We've got 12,296. So, yeah, we're ahead. If we're just working on the total glory of the faction, we're stronger there. But it really depends how long a faction's been going, what sort of players they've got, etc. We've got some reasonable players. Our 22 members here, I'll just scroll down because I've got to give a special mention to this young man here, Boomer. I did promise him I'd mention him in my next video. I don't know whether it's for the girls, for the boys, for his mum, dad, sister. He promises it's just for me. But there's Boomer. We've got 2 members that are under level 30 that I've personally accepted. We've had long discussions, and they've assured me they're going to be total ninjas. So, Boomer, live up to your promises. You're now famous on my video, and everybody now knows that you're currently level 23, 2382, glory. You've not made any donations to me faction wars. You're in for it. Now, seriously, seriously, get some donations done into the faction wars. But there's your fame and fortune. Okay, 12296, as we said. Go back on here. We'll look at our faction. I'll tell you what, let me look at a new faction. Angle is G2. Might be Angel is G2. Let's click on them first. Okay, what are we looking for? It's not just the glory level, as I say. We need to be looking down. How many members have they got? Well, they've got 33 against our 22. Not a major problem. But what's the glory score for individual players? You know, 20, 17, 14, 5. There's a couple of high-ish glory players. You know, they're over 10k. There's a couple that's over 20. We've got a general down the bottom there on 23 and a bit, but he doesn't seem to be that active. Speaking of active, another thing to consider is how many of them appear to contribute. The contribution points, I appreciate, only come on when there's a faction event on these days. Let's scroll down. Now I'm going to assume some of the lower ones have, excuse me, they've been doing battles, well, PvP battles, whilst the faction event is on. That's where they've got some contribution points, because generally, once your donation has been used on the Allied Assault, you do get a few more points. But contribution-wise, the active players, there's 24 who are doing something. Not a significant amount down the bottom. On a maximum donation, they could donate 48 units. Very rarely do a faction get to donate absolutely everything, unless it's a very keen one. The ones toward the top, how active are they? You know, that's not a bad contribution at all. You know, these are quite active guys. We then need to look at the actual players individually. Are they aggressive players? Have they got strong defences? Anybody that shows a really strong defence figure, you know, they're ones to watch. This guy has been playing, this lady, this person has been playing a long time, by the looks of things. We could do a little bit more. We could see, I'm going to guess, profile, yeah, level 84. Many, odd. Let's have a look at some of the others. Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. So we could decide, if we want, to declare on these. But what we can do is we can also look for people within our own faction league. Or even below, if we want to bully them. What we need to do is come back to our home page, if you like, click on the podium. And what we can do is, we've only just been promoted, so we're somewhere down the bottom yet, number 95. What we could do is choose a faction that's directly from here, you know, supposedly equally matched. There's a faction here, must be a barcode, that appears to have 40 defences, only 7 attacks. Doesn't seem that active, but it's got high defence. These tend to be the teams where nobody gets involved, nobody accepts, and after the waiting time has expired, you're just automatically in war by default. Let's just see if we can have a closer look at these. Obviously not. Action failed. It does happen. It could be that the faction is no longer there. I'm imagining that faction is no longer eligible to fight anyway. Let's have a look down here. Oh, there's a faction we could go for. They haven't won many defences. There we go, it's us. We've only played 22 or 21 or 22 battles and won all but 2, which I do think is quite a good result. Okay, we can find a battle through here, and we can also find somebody directly from the world map. Click onto fight. Typical. Oh, there we go. Right. Let's imagine we've spoke to somebody, and this is what the route we want to go. Let's look at Anthony from the Sneakers. We can either declare war straight away. We can look on his player profile. Anthony's level 64, incidentally. Click on his faction. Oh, crikey, look at those. 16,000 glory. These are very high performing guys. I imagine they don't stand for any crap. Do you know what? I think we'll avoid them. Okay, back. It can be quite hit and miss. It can be difficult finding a faction to accept, particularly as you move up through the ranks. I'm going to go back home. I'm going to go back onto our faction screen. Yeah, you get a 1 that comes up on the war tab, just like we've got on the comms tab there. I'll address that in a minute, and we'll have a look on here. Lanya, the less said. We've got a faction here. It's got 14 members, 11605. I'm going to click on these. What we need to do is, we look at their position within the overall structure of things. Again, looking at their glory, their at and death, their attack and defense skills. Yeah, these seem like a likely candidate. So what we're going to do is we're going to declare war, and we need to pick the terrain that we're best at. Do you know what? I think we're going to go for some ground attack here if we can. Serenity cannot wage more wars. Basically, the page we've just seen hasn't updated, and they've either had somebody else declaring on them or they've declared on somebody else. As I say, 3 at any one time. Need to find somebody else. What I'll do is I'll shut this down and refresh, and then continue in my search for a new battle for us. Ask for advice if you're not sure whether to accept somebody. Get somebody else saying, get somebody else's opinion. Sometimes we just leave the decision for quite some time. For example, during the faction war, wrong. During the global conquest, my mentality is if somebody's declared on you, if you don't accept it straight away, that slot is taken up so nobody else can attack. However, it is a personal bugbear of mine. If you declare on somebody, I'd love to know straight away whether they're going to accept or reject. So I tend to make my decisions straight away. Do bear in mind, we're not going to win every war, but we've got to create the right opportunities to win. We all make mistakes. You know, don't lose heart if the first battle that you choose results in a loss. You know, I might kick off, but joking. I'm just going to share a quote from Sun Tzu, The Art of War. I love these quotes. Victorious warriors win first and then go to war, whilst defeated warriors go to war first and then seek to win. And one more, the military adage, oh crikey, it's gone. Oh, sorry. This has been attributed to a number of different people. Sir Henry Royds Pownall, Sir Macpherson Robertson. I also believe it's from Sun Tzu again, and it is time spent in reconnaissance is seldom wasted. You know, it's that look before you leap mentality. Hopefully that's given you a little bit of an insight. If there's anything else you need to know, add something in the comments. But for now, thank you very much for watching the Siggy, and see you again soon.